These stone blocks are so precise, even our most advanced diamond-tipped tools can't replicate their cuts. High in the Bolivian highlands, at an altitude of 13,000 feet, lies a ruin that defies explanation, a place that should not exist. It's called Puma Punku here. You'll find perfect right angles, machine-like drill marks, and laser-straight cuts in massive blocks of stone, some weighing over 100 tons. The official timeline says this site predates the Inca Empire by 1,500 years, but looking at the evidence you have to ask, who really carved these stones? And more importantly, how did they do it? Welcome to Mystery Vault, where we expose impossible ancient secrets. Today we're journeying to Puma Punku, the site that breaks history. Puma Punku isn't just old, it's impossible by conventional standards. The stones here are made of andesite and diorite, two of the hardest types of rock on Earth. On the Mohs scale of mineral hardness, steel sits at around 6.5. Andesite, it's a 7 or higher. This means that the bronze or copper chisels that ancient people supposedly used would have been completely useless against it. They would have blunted, bent, or broken on the first strike. To shape andesite with the level of precision we see at Puma Punku, modern stonemasons would need a specific set of tools: diamond-tipped saws, high-speed rotary cutters, and industrial-level pressure systems. We're talking about the kind of equipment you'd find in a high-tech manufacturing plant, not an ancient mountaintop. So, how did the builders of Puma Punku manage this feat? Mainstream archaeology suggests they used simple hand tools, patience, and an incredible amount of manual labor. But when you look closer at the stones themselves, that explanation starts to fall apart completely. Or maybe, just maybe, they had something we don't know about. Let's talk about the geometry, because this is where the mystery really deepens. The stonework at Puma Punku isn't just impressive, it displays a level of mathematical and engineering sophistication that is simply mind-boggling. We're not talking about roughly hewn blocks stacked on top of each other, we're talking about machine-grade engineering. For starters, you have perfectly drilled circular holes, some running deep into the andesite blocks. How do you drill a perfectly round, smooth hole through one of the hardest stones on the planet with nothing but a stick and some sand? The physics just don't add up. Then you have the famous H-blocks. These are intricately shaped stones, all uniform in design. When measured, these H-blocks are so symmetrical and identical that they appear to have been mass-produced with tolerances within millimeters of each other. They fit together like a complex 3D puzzle, interlocking with a precision that would make a modern engineer proud. The cuts are another puzzle. They are perfectly straight, sometimes over long distances, and the surfaces are polished to a near-mirror finish. It looks like they were sliced with a giant, powerful saw, not slowly pounded into shape. Perhaps the most damning piece of evidence is the presence of 90-degree inner corners. Think about it. If you're using a hand tool like a chisel or a saw, you can create an outer right angle, but you can't carve a sharp, perfect inner right angle. You always end up with a rounded corner or have to drill a hole and cut from there. Yet, at Puma Punku, these perfect inner corners are found in multiple blocks. This isn't primitive stonework. This is evidence of a technology that, according to our history books, shouldn't have existed for thousands of years. The evidence for advanced tools doesn't stop with the geometry. When modern engineers and stonemasons have inspected the site, they've found what they call tool mark signatures. On many of the blocks, you can see faint, parallel grooves, spaced evenly apart. These marks are consistent with a signature left behind by high RPM rotary saws. The speed and power required to leave such marks in andesite would be immense. When these engineers presented their findings, the common response from some archaeologists was that these marks were just a coincidence, perhaps created by the slow process of rubbing the stones with other rocks and sand. The engineers, however, were not convinced. They argued that these aren't random abrasions, they are tool marks. They match the patterns created by modern machinery. So, what are we to believe? Is it all just a massive, inexplicable coincidence? Or were the ancient builders of Puma Punku using tools we would recognize today as powered machinery? Did they possess a technology that has since been lost to the sands of time? The stones themselves seem to be telling a story of power, saws, high-speed drills, and an understanding of engineering that rivals our own. And that story directly contradicts the official narrative. This is where we enter the realm of theories that mainstream history doesn't like to talk about. The evidence at Puma Punku is so compelling that it has given rise to several alternative explanations for who built it and how. First is the theory of a lost ancient technology. This idea proposes that there was a civilization, perhaps one that existed long before recorded history, that achieved a high level of technological development. They mastered stoneworking with methods we are only now beginning to understand. Puma Punku could be one of the last remaining fragments of this lost world. A related theory is the idea of a cataclysmic reset. What if this advanced civilization was wiped out by a global catastrophe, like a comet impact or a massive flood? Their cities would be destroyed, their population decimated, and their knowledge lost. All that would remain are a few indestructible ruins like Puma Punku, silent monuments to a world that was survivors of this cataclysm would have been thrown back into a primitive state. having to start civilization all over again, which could explain why history seems to reset around 10,000 BC. Then, of course, there is the extraterrestrial influence theory. Proponents of this idea look at the precision and the seemingly manufactured nature of the H-blocks and suggest they were uncarved at all, but constructed or molded. The modular, interlocking design looks less like art and more like functional components for a larger structure or machine. Could Puma Punku be the work of visitors from another world who used their advanced technology to build this site? Finally, there's the idea of ancient energy tools. This theory suggests the builders didn't use mechanical saws, but something far more advanced, like resonance cutting, sonic drilling, or high-frequency vibrational tools. Imagine a device that could use sound waves to slice through stone as if it were butter. There's no direct proof for any of these theories, of course, but the stones remain, and their message is clear. They simply don't fit the official story. The established timeline of human innovation has a massive 100-ton hole in it, and that hole is located at Puma Punku, so let's bring it all together. If Puma Punku is real and you can go there and see it for yourself, then a fundamental part of our understanding of history is wrong. The existence of this site implies that ancient people, thousands of years before the great empires we study in school, had access to tools, knowledge, or perhaps even help that was far beyond anything we've been told. The cuts in the stone do not match the capabilities of bronze chisels. The complex geometry and precision do not match the output of simple hand labor. The sheer scale and weight of the blocks, moved and placed at a high-altitude location, defy the logistics of a primitive society. The timeline just doesn't work. Puma Punku forces us to confront an uncomfortable possibility that our history is incomplete. We are a species with amnesia, stumbling upon the ruins of our own forgotten past, unable to explain who we were and what we were capable of. The real question isn't, how did they do it? We may never know the exact method. The more profound question is, who taught them? Or, perhaps even more startling, did they figure it out all on their own? In a lost chapter of human history we are yet to rediscover. The mystery of Puma Punku is a challenge to all of us, a call to question what we've been taught and to search for the truth, no matter how unbelievable it may seem. Thank you for joining us on this journey to Puma Punku. If you want to explore more impossible ancient secrets that challenge the official story, make sure to subscribe to Mystery Vault and hit that notification bell. The truth is out there, waiting to be exposed.